Hi, welcome to Chop's Garage. James here. So today we're back on the Sebring GT project, and the plan today is strip the paint back off of it. So as I said before, I think I intend on doing the car red again. It was originally red. I find it originally red everywhere. There's no other paints on the car, so I think we go back to red. I don't want to repaint the entire interior on the car again. So the areas that are red at the moment can stay red there, but the exterior of the car, there's some bubbling here and there. There's a couple of layers of red on it, so I want to really get that off, make sure there's no reactions when it comes to painting the car, and make sure that we definitely got any rust out at all. I will take the body kit back off again while we get the stripping done on that. The engine bay I'd already stripped down when I took the engine out, and there's a zinc coating on it. I know you can't really see it at the moment, it's pretty damn filthy. But I'm going to give that another clean off. Got a couple of more areas to do on that. Products I'm using, well, I was going to go to get some Nitromors, but I had a look on eBay to see what I could find cheap, and I found this stuff here, and I got basically 5 litres this for the price of 1 litre of Nitromors. It says it's for professional use only, and it's a heavy duty stripper, so we'll see. I think I didn't pay more than 20 quid for this 5 litres here, so that was a good buy. Well, hopefully it was a good buy. We'll see how we get on with it. And then I wanted something to put on the paint, metalwork afterwards, obviously to protect it, but I didn't want something I was going to have to spray coat on. I intend on putting, so what I want to do is put something down that's going to seal the metalwork, that's going to be non-absorbent while I work on the rest of the car over time, and then put a filler primer over the top of that, and then my colour coats afterwards. I'd had a good experience with Rust Buster before, so I picked up some more of that. I picked up some more of their epoxy 421 anti-corrosion stuff, which is you mix together. And what I intend on doing is we'll have a little experiment. I'm going to use my cheap £100 low pressure HVLP spray gun to put that coating on and see how it goes down from that. Now you can see I've already put some of that paint stripper on the roof here, and that's been activated for about 2 or 3 minutes now, and it looks like it's doing the job, but I do know that there's a couple of layers of red on this, so I don't know how deep that's getting at the moment. The only bit I'm doing inside the car with the paint stripper is the rear boot. I wasn't happy with that. That had uneven surface and bubbling on it, so I'm going to get all the paint off that, and then we'll give that a coat of the epoxy as well, and then when we get around to spraying, we'll spray that as well. So like I say, plan for today is get all the old paint off the car, and then after all the old paint's off the car, I'm going to be using some stripping discs. I'll show you those later if you haven't seen them before, which I absolutely love. The stripping discs for the grinder get you back to beautiful bare metal, and then we can see, we'll obviously have to put the epoxy on, and then it'll need a filler coat no doubt, but I want to put as minimum filler on as possible. Obviously got to get all around here, find out why this filler's here, get the paint stripped off, and then get the filler out and find why we've got filler here. Take care of any surface rust while brushing it down, treating it. So yeah, get the shell completely set. That's the game plan for today's video. Let's see how we get on. So we've got the whole car in stripper now. It's been on for about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to leave it for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll get the scraper out and we'll see how deep that has actually got into the paint, how much of it's lifted off. I suspect I'm going to have to do it another couple of times, but we'll see. So let's give this section of the roof a quick going over. As you can see, what it looks like it's done, it's taken off a layer that's been done after the original paint. It's coming off super easy. I can see there's some filler just here someone's put in, so presumably this is a repaint at some point. So it is going to need another going over. So what I think I'll do is get this top layer off and then I'll give it another going over and see how it goes with the coats below. It seems to have a coat, so one coat of this respray, then the original red, and then a filler underneath. And you can see we've got some rust spots we are going to have to treat and deal with as well. This is the purpose of getting all this off in the first place. Alright, let's see how we get on. So I've scraped off the remains of the first layer of paint stripper. As you can see, as I said, there's quite a lot of red left. We have got down to bare metal in a few areas. We can see the results of a little bit of filler from previous jobs. So what I'm going to do now is I'll give this entire area a second coat and we will see what the score is. It's bubbling away less on the other areas of the car that were actually quite good paint. I probably could have left a lot of this, to be fair, but if I'm going to bare metal the roof, I might as well bare metal the rest of it. So here goes with second coat, and we'll see if that gets through the original paint and the original primer or not. It might need a third going over afterwards. Once I've got it down to sort of the bare metal areas like that, then it will just get, like I say, I'll get the paint removing discs on the grinder and get a mask on, of course, and get all that off. Right, let's see how the second coat does. Lay it on nice and thick. So it's not done a lot to the front valance here. So for those of you that don't know, before I put another coat on, what I'm going to do is I'll use the edge of the scraper to actually scrape and cross-hatch the paint. This will allow the stripper to get underneath the paint a lot easier. So if you're having problems, go ahead and do this. You'll find that your stripper will go a lot further because it will be more effective. So we'll do that across the valance and any other areas that it really isn't getting into, so that we can really get down there and get all the old paint off. Make sure we capture any rust that's hidden away. So this is where we are so far. We've got the second coat on the roof here and you can see it's having a much bigger effect now. I've scored it up and got below that initial layer. Big difference. I have had to score up the rest of the car everywhere, also ready for its second layer. I mean, I have to say I'm quite impressed with this stripper, this heavy duty paint stripper, power strip that I got off eBay. Not sponsored obviously, my channel's not big enough. I can't tell you who the seller was on eBay, but that's where I found it, and it has actually taken the car back to bare metal in a lot of places on the first pass with a little scrape off afterwards. So much better than Nitromors in my experience. Nitromors is pretty rubbish, I have to say, is my personal experience of Nitromors, especially in comparison to this stuff, and this is a lot cheaper. And some people might be saying, why don't you just take the car out and have it sandblasted or blasted? There isn't an unlimited budget on this car. What we've all got at the moment is time, so I figure I may as well do this myself. The rest of the shell underneath is obviously really solid now that I've welded everything in, so it doesn't require that level of blasting, and I can get this done probably in a day or two. Strip back. Did I need to strip back? Probably not. The paint was pretty good. There was a couple of bubbling places, but odds on are I will end up selling this car, and to be confident that I've really got all the rot out of it and I can say to somebody's face truthfully that I have done so, I have to do this. So I want to know what is underneath the paint on the sills. I want to know what's underneath the paint on the roof. If I take it right back to bare metal, I can confidently say, yep, I've had this shell right back to bare metal. I've treated and dealt with any rust on it. And then, like I say, I want to put that heavy duty epoxy on as a sealant, then some filler primer, then the colour coats and the lacquer, and that should last for a blooming long time afterwards, and I can stand there and be entirely confident that what I'm selling is of the quality I said it was. This, guys, is why you cannot buy a cheap MGB, say a 5 grand MGB, and expect what you see the ones going up for 20 grand. Often people are saying, oh, someone's asking 15-20 grand for a 1800 MGB. You know, obviously the MGCs go for more, but they're asking, you know, 20 grand, 25 grand for a 1800 MGB. If that car has had a full resto, you could not do it for 20 grand. You'd struggle to do it for 20 grand. So if someone's already done this level of work to this quality, you can't get that for 5 or 10 grand. You're going to need to be spending 20 grand. You cannot buy a 5 grand MGB and make it into a 20 grand MGB without spending the best part, or at least another 10 grand, and a huge amount of your time, plus all the costs of buying the relevant tools that are needed and so forth. So you get asked that question, like, you know, how much can you build these cars for? You get see people comment on the price people are asking for cars. I'm telling you, if it's a completely restored car, you know, like this one's going to be getting, with completely stripped back paint, all the rot taken out of it, seals replaced, brand new rebuilt engine, brand new interior, shell back to bare metal and sprayed properly. If you're getting that for 20 grand, mark my words, you are getting a bargain, because the amount of hours that will have gone into that, as well as the cost wise, if they've replaced everything with brand new items like we are on this, all new suspension, all new bushings, you know, you can't do that for that kind of money. So that's just my little rant I see on these forums about people and the prices they complain about that people are asking for these cars. By all means, go and buy a 5 grand MGB GT that's got good sills on it, it's got good paintwork, it's got a little bit of bubbling here and there, but it's got a good solid engine on it, and go out and enjoy that car. Absolutely, I totally encourage it. In fact, I find it hard to drive these cars after they're fully restored for fear of marking them up and damaging them. But don't expect a 20 grand car for 5 grand. And also don't berate the dealers out there that have either done the resto or bought one that's had the resto on it and are asking that kind of money for it, because you pay your money, you make your choices. You either get it all done and dusted for you, or you spend a little amount of money now and end up spending the same over a long period of time, getting up to the same standard. Anyway, enough of my rants, let's get on and get the rest of this paint off. So here we are after the second coat, and as you can see, we're pretty much there. So I really am rating that stripper. It continued to strip off like I was showing earlier. It's looking real good. So we're going to give this a third coat now, and that should get the remaining off. So I don't think you want to see any more videoing of me just slapping on paint stripper and scraping it down again. So I thought I'd pretty much skip to where I got to after almost an entire day. 4 coats and we are down to bare metal in all the areas where the body kit isn't going. Obviously a lot of this is being cut out, so it doesn't make any sense to spend a lot of time getting that out. And I haven't quite finished this rear section here yet, but both the sides are done, the roof is done, door jambs are done. They've all come up nice, back to the bare metal, right across the front valance here. So what have I found underneath it? Obviously the purposes was to make sure that I didn't miss any rot. I'm pleased to say it's pretty solid overall. There was something in the boot, I haven't finished stripping the boot yet. Once I started poking, I found this hole down here. So that wasn't immediately obvious, so that's something we've caught. Up here I found a little bit of fiberglass, which seems to be covering some pinholes in the metal here, so that needs treating. So that was one area, but the roof overall is good actually. There's nothing going straight through the metal, so that's decent. Where they normally rot down here in a door jamb is solid on both sides. There is a bit here, they always rot here, so that needs treating. So this was the purpose of getting all this paint off, because obviously I found fiberglass filler pairs underneath the car when I dealt with the bodywork there, so I had a figure that there was going to be some more of it elsewhere. Oh, we've got a little bit on the windscreen here that needs doing, some new metal letting in there, but the rest of it seems okay. Oh, there is again a little bit of pitting down here in the metal. It doesn't seem too serious. There's a little hole there, so I might need to let a bit of metal in there as well. So overall not too bad. Next step on it will be a wire brush on a cup, cup wire brush on a grinder, because we want to get out these old bits of filler here. I only found one coat of paint other than the original, so it was a fairly original car. It had only been painted once other than the first time from the factory. I think this is the factory body sealant or filler primer, whatever you want to call it. Looks like pretty thick stuff. It's done its job. We're okay around the window, around the gutters, they're all good. You can see the original welds around the gutters. So yeah, this has cost 20 quid's worth of paint stripper, and almost a day of my time to do this. So again, cheaper than sending it out for dip in. Get a chance to get through and have a look where there's anything that needs doing. So yeah, next step is get a wire cup on the grinder and get in and get over everything, and then use a paint stripping wheel to get the last bits off. Double check we haven't got any other areas we need doing. I need to clean up the engine bay. Once it's gone over the wire cup, there'll then be and the paint stripping wheel, it'll then be time to put the epoxy primer over all these areas where we're back to bare metal. Obviously treat any surface rust with Cure Rust, and then get that epoxy on there, make sure it's all sealed. So then after that it will be time to get brave, cut these arches out and start fitting the rear arches into the car. So that's going to be it for this video, because they take a donkey's age to upload on my Devon internet connection. Next vid, I'll come back, like I say, we'll be finishing off the shell. Thanks for watching. Please like or dislike, leave a comment and hit that subscribe button. It's down there, isn't it? Thanks a lot.